So I should be live on YouTube now. Yeah, I'll get that set up. So we got YouTube going. Now we got TikTok going because why not? Actually, it might be a little more efficient or productive if I do that. At least I look in the same direction. Then I got worried about the gram. So let's go to the gram. Why is Instagram giving me a live option? Post story reel. I want to do a live. Oh my, because it's still uploading my last live. Or whatever Instagram's trying to do with live. Let's. No, I can't figure it out. Instagram. It's not letting me do a live. That's okay. Anywho, even though that's not working, I'm not too worried about it. I might be able to. Maybe I can use this to play some music then. Let's hit up YouTube real quick. Look in the tab. Trying to check this out. So you may have heard Margaritaville has their new ship, the Beachcomer, which I am very excited about. I know I don't have. I might be able to screen share on YouTube if I'm not mistaken, but I probably won't be able to screen share on TikTok. That's going to be the issue. So those who are viewing on YouTube will be able to see what I am doing here in a moment once I find where I put my other mouse. All right. So shortly you'll be able to see the details of the Beachcomber. I actually made a video I recorded this morning of everything that we know about the Beachcomber, which I'll be publishing later on this week. I got to go in and edit it because I had gone through the deck plan. I had gone through the stats of everything about the ship. And I guess I could go review it right now. I could go back over it and it shouldn't be a problem at all. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to pull up screen share on YouTube. I won't be able to do it on TikTok, unfortunately. But those on YouTube, here in a moment, should be able to see the details of the Beachcomber. And I want to go ahead and close out. Make sure I don't have anything crazy up. Not that I usually do, but just in case. And I wonder if I saved that PDF that I did this morning. I actually went through a PDF with all my predictions about what is where on the ship. Hopefully I saved it. If not, I'm going to take some screenshots. All right. Now, if you're on YouTube, few seconds here. Share screen. I don't know why it shows so many. I'm still figuring out. So maybe if I just share window instead, if it'll let me. If I do, maybe if I share one window at a time. Now I see a blank screen. Okay, let's stop sharing and see what happens. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry, bear with me, YouTube. I am trying to learn this still. If I do entire screen, you see endless versions of me like it's an illusion. That's not what I want. If I share a tab, will that work? I see black, a blank screen. I'm going to look up how to handle that because that is a blank screen. Maybe on the wrong screen that I'm sharing. So try that. That's not working. Okay, how does that work? Okay, I don't know how that worked, but we got it to work. Awesome. So even though on this tab, it still shares it. All right, let me repeat that again, just so I know how to do it for future lives. Okay, I'm going to share screen. I'll pick, okay, maybe if I do entire screen again and do that, and no, it's not going to work that way. Share screen, specific tab, share, view tab studio, then it works. Okay. Alrighty. Now, if I could find the correct tab with the details, here we go, this tab instead. And now it is working. Yes. Okay. So a quick overview of what we know about the Margaritaville Islander. This was announced yesterday morning. I made a quick TikTok, and I was anticipating making a second TikTok about this. But that's when I realized that everything I made in the morning announcement on TikTok was the entire announcement. A lot of cruise lines, or it's a little more common, that they will release a bunch of information about the ship all at one time. Not everything, of course, but in big batches. Margaritaville is taking a little bit different approach, maybe because they haven't done many new announcements on their ship, so they don't have very many ships. So they want to savor all that news for this one ship and kind of slow roll it out. And of course, it's still a year and 3 months out, so they have time to make changes. Everything might not be finalized as of yet. So, like Royal Caribbean, they have a new ship coming out like every year. Carnival has a new ship coming out every year, and sometimes multiple times a year. So they could afford to make big batches of information versus Margaritaville. They only have one ship coming out, I guess a year as well, but they don't have as many ships to pay attention to. So they're still rolling in it, which is not a big deal. It's good information and just, of course, I want to know everything now about the ship. But Beachcomer was announced a few months ago, or more so, that they bought a ship and they were buying a ship. They're still looking for more ships. Then it was announced that the name was going to be the Beachcomer. We all knew the size already. Now they released yesterday the home port. Oh, actually, no, 2 weeks ago they released the home port. which was going to be Miami, as well as some of the inaugural sailings. And then as of yesterday, they released some renderings of the Islander, not the Islander, of the Beachcomber. So this is some of that here. So this is the reference guys on the ship. Main voyage is going to be January 2027. It's going to be January 9th, specifically 9th through 13th. And it's going to go to Puerto Rico, San Juan. It's going to go to Dominican Republic, Puerto Plata, and it's going to go to St. Martin in the United States Virgin Islands. But this is going to be a crew capacity of 1,090, passenger capacity of 2,716, and it says 13 passenger decks, but you do have 14th deck, but that's more like a viewing deck. It's not really anything to do on that deck. The length of the ship is 893 feet. Breadth is 117. Gross tons, 102, 587. So 100,002 gross tons is not a big ship, but it's not a small one either. This is the largest one in Margaritaville's fleet. The Paradise is basically, to my knowledge, the smallest main cruise line, a cruise ship, in selling. There may be some small ones, no, some smaller than that. I just don't know of them, and I haven't actually done much research into it, so I might be wrong on that. But for the ones I know about the top of my head, that one is the smallest. And then you have the Islander, which is a good size ship. I think it's like 80,000 to 70,000 to 80,000 tons. I want to say it's 80,000 gross tons. This one's 102. So this is going to be their biggest ship, and it's going to be similar to the size of the Virgin Voyages ship. So the Virgin Voyages ship with the Scarlet Lady, the Valiant Lady, they're 110 or 112 gross tons. I want to say they're 111, actually. I could be wrong, but I'm somewhere in that ballpark. So if you've been on a Virgin Voyages cruise, this is going to be about that size ship, just a little bit smaller. If you've been on Carnival Radiance, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Carnival Radiance is actually 102 gross tons. Let me double check on that. Let's go to the Carnival Radiance gross tons. 101,000 gross tons. So 101,509. So it's just slightly smaller than this ship. So 1,000 gross tons difference, which is basically nothing when you comparing these huge ships one to another. So it's basically the size of the Carnival Radiance, if you've ever been on Carnival Radiance. On Princess, when I was trying to compare earlier, there was not a Princess ship that was about the same size. You had some a little bit smaller, some a little bigger. So this Beachcomber is going to be a little bigger than the Coral Princess, Island Princess, Grand Princess. Or not bigger than the Grand Princess, but the Coral and Island Princess is going to be bigger. It's going to be slightly smaller than the Grand and the Caribbean Princess. Because the Coral and the Island Princess is 91,000 gross tons versus the Grand and the Caribbean is 107, 112 gross tons, respectively. So it's going to be around that size ship. And same thing with Royal Caribbean. There's not a super close match because they have one class of ship, the Division and the Grandeur of the Seas, we have 73,000 gross tons. Then it jumps up to the next class of ship, which is 139 gross tons, which is like the Navigator ship. So there's not really a super close match, but that gives at least a general idea of what the size of the Beachcomber is going to be. It's going to be that size ship. And it's going to have a total of 138 staterooms. Just double check the chats. I've been talking about this ship. Make sure there's nothing else I need to address real quick. So 1,358 staterooms and suites. It is an older ship, so it's going to have a lot more of those staterooms, specifically in the inside cabins. Now the newer ships are going to have, other cruise lines are going to have more so of those balcony and ocean views, mainly those balconies because they're very popular. But Margaritaville is going to be basically repurposing an old ship. But what I see as the advantage, even when Margaritaville has said it themselves, is the fact that since this is an older ship, I've noticed a trend on newer ships from most cruise lines, the cabins getting slightly smaller. For example, kind of on the XL class ships from Carnival, their biggest class of ship, those rooms seem pretty cramped. Part of it is the fact they make them longer instead of more of a square, so it's a lot more of a thin rectangle, so it makes it feel smaller. But some are actually smaller, so they try to fit as much people in the ship as possible. Versus Royal Caribbean, you have bigger ships, more room each, or more room. The staterooms are bigger in each when compared to Carnival. So, but compared to some older ships, those rooms are still kind of small, depending on which room type you get. But kind of the mainstream rooms. And that's just because they're making bigger ships. They want to fit more people on a ship because more people on a good ship, the more money they can make. And that's kind of at least a runaway effect of it's just getting smaller, feeling tight, more realty. One, it's older ship, so they have more room naturally. And they're not going to, I guess, demolish every single room out there. Yes, they are definitely going to refurbish the rooms, refurbish the entire ship. They're probably going to, but they're going to work with the skeleton they got. They are going to knock down some walls, make some changes to it, but they're not going to reinvent the wheel. But if I go to see if I can find the other tab. It won't want to let me share this screen. That's interesting. Maybe because I chose a specific browser. I wonder if I could open this by doing that here. I know you can't see anything on YouTube, but I'm playing in the background. That's not what I was intending to do. Let's try this again. If it'll even let me do that. It'll guarantee it'll actually let me do that. Okay, cool. It did let me do that. So I'm going to share a new tab. Cool. So this one's showing all the sellings on the ship. So all the sellings the Beachcomer is going to do, it's going to do anywhere from the 4-night to 8-night sellings. In your initial inaugural selling, it's going to be down here, January 9th, Saturday, 7-night Eastern Caribbean from St. Thomas in States Virgin Islands, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Puerto Plata, and Dominican Republic. So that is going to be their inaugural selling on January 9th. But you have options. That's one of the things when I was on a webinar with Margaritaville is they wanted to show options. So they're going to have options from 4-night to just Dominican Republic and back. They're going to have a 4-night also to Key West and Bimini. Going to have a lot of your classics, Dominican Republic, Puerto Plata. They're also going to have some ships or some ports that's exclusive to the Beachcomer. When I say exclusive, I mean exclusive for Margaritaville. So it's not going to be exclusive like no cruise line goes there, but it's going to be only destinations that this ship is going to go to. If I remember correctly, that's going to be like Bonaire on the ABC Islands. Some of their other ships, the Islander does go to Aruba and Curacao, but it doesn't currently go to Bonaire, and they will with this ship. So that's something to keep in mind. But there's a full list of that, and I don't have it here. It's actually on my phone. I have a screenshot of that, but my phone's being used for TikTok, so I can't double check on what ports that are. But it's definitely at least Bonaire. And I want to say, no, I'm not going to say because I'm going to be wrong if I say it. But as you can see, they have a large variety of sailings. Um, and they're going to Grand Cayman. I think that's another one. They're going back to Jamaica. I'm not sure if cruise lines have reduced going to Jamaica, but I know a lot of them are going to other islands. I haven't been to Jamaica or Grand Caymans in a while, but those are typically on longer sailings, like on the shorter sailings. But they're making a big play in Jamaica, Margaritaville, um, and Grand Cayman, which I know Grand Cayman specifically is having less cruise activity than they have done in the past. Um, yes. You need to come in? Someone came by my door and I thought they may need something, so I peeked my head out. And they were already went poof. So back to what I was talking about. So I was going over the locations that they're selling to. And I apologize on TikTok. I know I can't see my screen because that's what I'm looking off of right now. But I mean, they have a lot of good ones. The ABC Islands, I've never been. So I would love to do that one in general. But let's hop into the renders of the ship, which you can do for that one. Let's go to Margaritaville because that one's all public info. So let's go to just their website, Margaritaville. All right, now I should be sharing that screen of the rendering. So you can see, like I said, they're releasing information in batches. So for example, in 12 days and 20 hours, 17 minutes and 21 seconds, they're releasing their next batch of information. And if I'm thinking correctly, that means the morning of the 27th is going to be released more information. So let's ask Chat GPT because I use that for everything now. That is my new, better, more accurate Google. See what time and date would it be in 12 days, 20 hours, and 16 minutes. Well, it's just the minutes is not going to matter really. So, assuming current time is no, I want to assume the current time is right now, not at a flat time. Anywho, regardless, having to adjust the time for GGPT's assumption of the time in the past, not the current exact time. Regardless, that should means October 20th, October 21st at 8 a.m. So yeah, that's what I was right. So the Tuesday, the 21st at 8 a.m. They're going to release more information, which I assume so because Tuesday, the 7th at 8 a.m. is going to release information about the Beachcomer. Last time, a few weeks before that, it's been on Tuesday. So it looks like they're keeping the theme going with Tuesday. And I'm pretty sure I know why they're doing that because they're going to make the announcement. Then they're going to have a webinar / meeting with the travel agents about what they just announced, which is what they did last time. Every time they've done these announcements thus far, is they'll say, "Hey, here's the new stuff. Here's the webinar. Let's talk about it. Let's go over it." And they may not do the webinar in 2 weeks. I have to double check the schedule, but I know they said they weren't going to publish that for maybe a few more days, so maybe that link is going to go up soon. But we should know more information. then. Don't know. So then you're going to see the rendering of the ship right here. This is going to be the biggest 5 o'clock somewhere bar, 5 o'clock somewhere sign anywhere. So that's not just saying, hey, this is the largest one on Margaritaville's at sea. No, this is including their resorts and their property. That is the biggest one. So they're very, very excited and happy about that. And you can see earlier today, I went over the deck plan, trying to pick out what venue is going to be where. In here, you can clearly see that you're going to see the JW Steakhouse right here. You're going to see the Cheeseburger in Paradise, and you're going to see 5 o'clock somewhere bar. So you can tell already that this is the back of the ship when compared to the deck plan. So it's going to be the very back, the pool in the back. And then you're going to have here, it's going to be a bar, and this side is going to be a restaurant. And I had made some predictions on that, which I may or may not go over here a little bit. But to me, it looks pretty good. And keep in mind, they're committing to cabanas. So on the Islander last year when I went, and there was a cabana, they didn't really do much with the cabana. They had one. They didn't have one last year. They added one this year, and they charge for that, which I didn't have mixed feelings about because the cabana's good for those people who have it, but it really took away a lot of that room that the ship used to have. The fact that they're going to release the ship with the cabanas already pre-installed, I think is going to make a difference due to the fact that, one, I didn't experience a ship with more room, and all of a sudden I had less room for public space, of course. So there's not that change of expectation of what you've gotten used to. So they're really doubling down on this. So I don't mind it. The fact they're releasing with it, no one will know any different. This is the new venue they have already announced. There are more new venues and more things that are going to come soon. They have not said anything so far about, but it's going to be the Daiquiri Shack, which they already have at their actual physical resort locations. So I didn't think of this morning when I was making the video, but if you want a insight to what Margaritaville at Sea could be planning next for their ship, which new venues they have not announced, may want to take a look at their resorts and see what is featured in the resorts that's not currently on the Margaritaville at Sea ship. Because that could be one of the new venues on this ship, which I'm super excited for. So this one's going to be all about frozen drinks. Which I don't know about you, but when it's middle of summer and you're sailing on a ship, I like to get frozen drinks anytime I'm outside. So that's going to be a big change, and it looks very good. I'm sorry, TikTok again. I know you're not seeing any of these renderings, but Facebook's looking on this one. And this one, the reason I mentioned that because I knew this picture was coming up next, is a rendering of the main pool deck. And I want to point something out here. You can tell this is just a rendering, and it's a rough draft because this right here is the 6-string, I guess, event center to perform, and you can see straight through the bottom. So I feel like that's probably an error in the rendering there because this is supposed to be above the pool, and how can you have a performance area, but then see straight down to the pool? So that would mean there's no floor in this rendering unless it's a glass floor, which I don't foresee being a glass door where you can see straight through, because it probably wouldn't be a big deal, except if a lady is performing and you could see straight up through the floor, which would be an issue, which is why I don't believe that's glass floor. I believe that is an error in the rendering, which is on Margaritaville's website, which is kind of funny. So I wonder if Margaritaville realizes there's that big old error in their rendering, because there's indeed a big old error in their rendering. So the Beachcomber is selling out of Port Miami. So I went over this a little bit earlier, but I'll share that screen again because there's not much new that I haven't covered yet. So I'll show you. So, the deck plan. Oh, look, there's my edited deck plan. I know I'm not sharing that screen yet, but I saw another tab. So let me go to the other screen that I was on earlier, if I could find it. I want the big fancy one that I believe. I don't expect everyone to be here the entire time. I just nearly said that just so that people who already here earlier, they kind of got the repeat. I'm kind of covering the same thing over again. But I was kind of already about finished with my spill to begin with, so this is pretty much the Q&A part of the live stream, for more or less. But this is the calendar for Margaritaville, the Beachcomber, and all the ports that it's going into. I zoomed in a little bit, but they're doing anything from 4-night to 8-night sellings. So there's going to be a lot of sellings that they're doing beyond what they're currently on. And their inaugural selling, which I'm very tempted to book. But on reservation of not. That's keeping me from booking their inaugural selling is the fact that it's January 9th of 2027. And typically, I teach college. So January 9th is typically either the first week of school, which I don't think is the first, but it's usually when the faculty has returned to campus. And they don't like faculty to miss that first week of school back. I might be able to get away with missing convocation returning. But that first week of school, they're not going to be happy with that. So, anywho, that's a personal problem I have. You're welcome. But as you can see, so the inaugural selling is going on January 9th to St. Thomas Virgin Islands, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. And personally, I find San Juan is my favorite port in the Caribbean that I've been to thus far. And the Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic is my second favorite port in the Caribbean. I've been to Amber Cove, Dominican Republic. Amber Cove, I'm not a fan of in Dominican Republic. That port, in my opinion, is a little too, I guess, Americanized. And the food that they serve there is not authentic. It's sort of like lunch food that I can get at home. That's assuming if you're staying in the port area itself. If you leave into the town, that's a different story. But as far as the port part of it, I'm not a big fan. Puerto Plata, I love 1,000 times better. And Puerto Rico, by far, my favorite place I've been. The thing I love most about Puerto Plata is when we went, we had some mamajuana. And what that is basically spiced rum. It's a spiced rum. Is another word that has the same ending. No relation at all. It's 100% legal. You can bring it back in the United States, any state, no issue. And I love that spiced rum. It is my favorite. There's a story behind it, but I'm not sure how strict YouTube is with certain words. I know some people cuss and it's crazy stuff on YouTube, but I'm not doing that. So I'm still working out how this works. But there's a lot of ports, and there's a few of these ports that are exclusive to this specific ship on the Islander. So I think Bonaire is somewhere that Margaritaville does not currently go, and the Islander will go there. Not the Islander will go there. The Beachcomber will go there. There's two other ports I believe that this is the only ship in the fleet that they'll be going to. And I'll have a video posted later this week, and maybe Friday, maybe Thursday, depending on how quickly I could edit the video. That will have the list of ports that's exclusive. And I would pull up my phone, read it off, but I'm on TikTok. I'm live streaming on my phone, so I can't pull up my screenshot. I actually might be able to pull up on my computer via iCloud. I just not sure whether it would share. Only other thing about the Beachcomber is I was going to the deck plan. And I think at the end of the video explain what we know so far. I went over the deck plan, and this is the official deck plan with my guesses of what venue is going to be what. And I fully anticipate to be 50% correct in this. Because we have the deck plan. They do not have any names of any of the venues thus far, but you'll see names on some of these venues, and that's my guess. I don't expect any of this to be, well, I don't say any of it. I know some of it's going to be correct. Like, for example, Stars Over the Water Theater, that's the only place I could go. That's the only theater on the ship. Atrium, it's going to be the flip-flop bar in Atrium. That's not going to change. Here, guest services, shore excursion, one on each side. No surprise there. This is going to be the main dining room. But that's kind of where it starts to, casino here, but that's when it starts to go into some of the speculation to where on the Islander currently on that ship, the way their dining room is set up is the bottom floor of the main dining room is the Finn's restaurant. The top floor of the main dining room is the Islander dining, and that's going to be your fancier dining. You have more menu options, more food there, higher quality food. Like, for example, on the top floor, you're going to be able to get not the filet, but the beef Wellington, which you don't know, it's like Chef Ramsay's signature dish. So you're going to have that on the Islander dining room, which is basically reserved for suite guests and people who pay extra for it. So I anticipate they're going to do something similar with this ship, but because it's more people, I think that both floors are going to be Finn's dining room, and there's another dining room in the middle, which I can believe is going to be for those suite guests and those who paid extra. That's my guess. Oh, yes, Islander. Wait, this August. So you got it for like, what, 2 months ago? I was on it the month before that. I went on, or was it June? No, I went in July. I believe I went in July on the Islander. Because we did it was in July. We did a road trip. We drove to Florida just because we wanted to make a road trip. We could have flown, but we wanted it was summer. The kids were wanting to go to Florida, go to another state, and they wanted to travel. So we took a road trip to Florida, did things along the way, and same thing on the way back. So we drove to Florida, went on the Islander, and then drove back. So we made it. Was supposed to be a 5-day cruise, ended up being like a week and a few days vacation. Just because we did a lot of driving and stuff, doing one straight shot back. We came back into Tampa, did aquarium there, drove a little bit away back to the Panhandle, Florida, stayed the night there, enjoyed the beach for a lot of the day, drove a little back the next day, stayed in another town, did some stuff there, and then the next day finished to drive home. So we made the trip of that. And yeah, I love the Islander. So a little bit about me is I've been on 5 different cruise lines. So I have a favorite cruise line, and then I have favorite ships. And I don't know how to say this. It feels weird to say because it's Margaritaville Sea, it's kind of a smaller cruise line. But I feel like they're in the running for my favorite ship. I'm not sure if they're going to say they're my 100% favorite ship. I kind of want to say it. But I love the Islander. I love the Islander. Yeah. Now, my next question is, have you been on any other cruise lines? Or are you a Margaritaville Sea person? Lurky Lou. I look this way because I have multiple screens on multiple devices. just because I'm live streaming on multiple things. So if you can see me on any of the live streams and I'm looking one way and I'm looking at another and another, it's because I have one screen here, one screen here, one screen here. Just because I'm playing with the live streaming, having fun with it. And again, I apologize, TikTok. I keep referencing certain parts of the ship, but you can't see my screen share like on YouTube. Eventually, once my TikTok gets better, I should be able to use software to live stream on multiple platforms right now, having multiple devices and live streaming with that, which means I could live stream multiple platforms. However, the downside is I can't show everyone the same thing if I'm trying to screen. Like right now, I'm screen sharing on YouTube. So I apologize, TikTok. Maybe a little confused about what part of the ship I'm talking about. And this little bar here, I couldn't figure out what that bar was. I'm assuming that's probably going to be a new one. Here, it's going to say, I'll say, is a nightclub. In the back of the ship here, I think it's a Coral Reef Lounge. That'd be my guess. Just because this is an old Costa ship that they bought. And Costa's owned by Carnival. So they literally had the same deck plans as Carnival. So I tried to use the Costa deck plans to figure out this one. I'll probably use a Carnival deck plan of the same class of ship instead of Costa, because Costa, the way they name things, oh my gosh, it was hard to find things. And since that ship no longer exists, technically in that format, there's not much good information out there, and the ship tour videos I can figure out were just horrible. So I'm guessing with some of these blindly. First time on Margaritaville. Well, you picked a good ship to be a first time on Margaritaville, because I've been on both of their ships. I've been on the Paradise and the Islander. The Paradise is a ship that I would sell again, but I would not make a trip to Florida to sell it again. I live in Texas. And of all the cruises I've been on, I would say the Paradise was the worst one I've been on. But still, being on the cruise ship is better than not being on the cruise ship. However, the Islander, that was one of the best experiences I've had on any cruise line. And that's a lot to say. But again, that's also in the eyes of the beholder. So every cruise line does something that they do best. So depending on what kind of experience will determine what cruise line you want to go on, what ship you want to go on. For example, Margaritaville, an Islander, I'm not going to go on every single cruise, because there's sometimes maybe I want luxury and relax on a cruise, and then I may go on Princess. If I want to party hardy all night, I'm going Virgin Voyages. And if I'm taking my kids with me, I'm going to go to Carnival. I may take my kids on Margaritaville at Sea when I take my kids with me. If I take my kids with me, I'm probably going to a nearby port. I'll probably go Carnival or Royal Caribbean. I definitely want to try Royal Caribbean. I've only been on one Royal Caribbean ship. My next question for you, Lou, is, so what other cruise lines have you been on? I'm curious. So you said it's definitely I see, you already answered that. Let me read it here. Carnival, Norwegian, Voyage, Virgin, or Royal. I have not tried Norwegian yet. I heard great things about Norwegian. I have a friend who swears by Norwegian that is the best cruise. But again, it's always the eyes of the beholder. He loves Norwegian, hands down. Similar to me, Carnival is by far the most sold cruise line that I've been on. I'm in Galveston, Texas. I've been with them for a while, but then, this whole Carnival reward program change. I was gold. I'm getting near platinum. So that's a bitter taste in my mouth, but it is what it is. I'm trying other cruise lines anyways. And then like my dad's platinum. And so then probably attempted trying to get diamond before, but to me, that just solidified my thoughts that I don't want to be low to one cruise line. My goal is to try every single cruise line. I mean, I try every single cruise line multiple times, but I only try it once, just to say I have, I might be missing out on something. So I want to miss out on it. So My next cruise line I'm going to go on is MSC. So far, I've been on Virgin Voyages, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, um, Margaritaville, and Princess. So next, I have MSC booked for spring break out of the port of Galveston because they have a new ship, or not a new ship, but they're entering the Texas market. So that's when I was able to get on it. So that'll be my sixth cruise line. I'm hoping to do Disney. But then again, about when I was planning to do Disney for, Margaritaville has their new ship coming on the Beachcomer. So I might still try Disney. I'll have to probably choose one or the other unless something crazy happens. And that's why YouTube blows up and starts making a lot of money all of a sudden, which I'm hoping it does. So I finally got monetized on YouTube. So now I'm officially making money off of YouTube, which is pretty cool. So I'm super excited about it. Not life-changing money as of yet. I'm hoping it will be one day. It's a proof of concept. I would ask you, how does what's kind of hard if you only been, okay, let me say, did Norwegian, the European sailings. My next question would be, one, did you done any other cruise, have any other European cruises other than Norwegian in Europe? And if you have you done the equivalent sailing in the United States? Because I'm curious of what the difference is in cruising in Europe and the United States. Because I know there are some preference differences and culture differences. And I want to know what feedback, if any, you have of, okay, cruising in Europe is different because of this. I was like, someone asked if there's a lot of hookups on Carnival. I mean, that's every cruise line. People on vacation. That's one of those things that's not cruise lines specific. So when people like refer to like the pineapple people, that's everywhere. I don't know where people get this idea that this is a cruise or a cruise line specific thing. That's people on vacation thing. You know, people are going to do what they do wherever they're at. But yeah, I'm on MSC, on Carnival, not Carnival, out of Galveston. I'm excited for that. I can't wait. I know it's going to be different. I know I'm not going to be a fan of it announcing stuff in every single language, like 5 different languages. What I heard, there's probably a few things I'm not going to like, but I always go with an open mind that, hey, I'm not going to go on MSC expecting a Carnival experience or a Princess experience or a Royal Caribbean experience. It's going to be different. Like when I first sailed on Royal Caribbean, or not Royal Caribbean, a Princess, I knew I was going to get a relaxing cruise. I knew I didn't go there with the intention of party. Like when I go on a cruise ship, I'm an introvert by nature, but when I'm on a cruise ship or talk about cruises like right now, an introvert shouldn't be talking this much, but I love cruising. That's what I'm passionate about. So that's how you get me to talk. So while I'm on a cruise ship, I party. I typically always get the drink package, not always, but most of the time I do. But I relax. I'm there to have a good time. I talk to people. Um, but I didn't expect to get that experience, like a party experience, I would get on Carnival or Virgin Voyages when I went on Princess. And this is where on Margaritaville, I had the rest of my guesses, which again, I'm pretty sure are going to be half of this wrong. But of course, this is going to be the pool. This I know is correct at 5 o'clock somewhere because that rendering that I showed earlier showed that it had a railing all the way around, a walkway all the way around, and a pool, which that's the only place on the ship that I would see that, because the walk around here, you would see some other stuff out here. So these could possibly be here, but I think it's here. And I can see there's also a food venue here. That's what I thought Mexican Q is going to be here. 5 o'clock somewhere is going to be here. At first, I thought this would be the adults only area. But looking back at it again, and probably a bad idea to have adults only area where other people could just walk around above you, as well as Cheeseburgers in Paradise above you. So this is the back of the ship for kind of all those reasons. Mexican Kitty Cantina, as complete gas has to be somewhere. That's a common blue iguana equivalent to Carnival, but better, but better. Um, and at the main pool deck, the daiquiri shack, we could see in the rendering also where that's located, right there. Land Shark Bar, because it's on their other ships and it has to be somewhere. And that's probably going to be a new bar. That's my guess. I could be completely wrong, but they did know that have some new venues and new things. And Daiquiri Shack is the only one they have announced so far. But within 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, they'll have another announcement. When is the drink package worth it? So with the drink package, it's pretty much the same on every cruise line when it's worth it. It's worth it if one, you're going to drink alcohol. In some cruise lines, it includes extras like fresh pressed juices, non-alcoholic ones, coffee. Other cruise lines, it does not. Like on Margaritaville at Sea, coffee is not included. Despite coffee is not included in their drink package. But in Carnival, it is. On Princess, it is. On Royal Caribbean, it is included. But the general rule of thumb, if you're getting an alcohol package and you're planning to drink about 6 to 7, if you're going to drink alcohol more than 6 to 7 drinks, I would say 7 to be on the safe side, drinks a day, then it'd be worth it. You just got to do the math. Drinks are roughly $12 to $15 a drink, depending on what kind of drinks you get. So the break-even point's typically 7, 6 drinks, depending on what you get. If you drink beers are typically cheaper, which means you probably drink about maybe 9 beers to break even. So I would say if you plan to drink more than 7 a day, get it. However, there's other cruise lines that there are some special considerations, like Royal Caribbean. I got the drink package in Royal Caribbean, but I bought the drink package when they had their Black Friday sale, when they do every single year. And it made the drink package in Royal Caribbean cheaper than Carnival. So I think I paid like $50 per person per day for unlimited alcohol, because the drink unlimited alcohol, or the Royal Caribbean drink package, contains unlimited alcohol. Because Carnival is a 15 drink limit. So, I mean, sometimes Royal Caribbean is cheaper when it comes to packages. And I find it funny that people associate Carnival with cheap cruises. And there's plenty of times where I found a Royal Caribbean cruise cheaper than Carnival, especially when you have kids and none of the kids sell free program. Because that's what I did. I sold in December, kids sell free for 4 people on Royal Caribbean for $1,100 versus, which is kind of hard to do now because price cruise isn't going up, but that was already like a year and a half ago. But it was super cheap. And I looked at the same cruise on Carnival, it was like $2,000 because they didn't have the kids sell free offer. So if you have kids, that's when Royal Caribbean can be cheaper if you cruise during the kids sell free offer. And which is more worth it? I love them both. I would take in all consideration. I would say Royal Caribbean's drink package is better, especially on a Black Friday sale. But I rarely hit more than 15 drinks a day. So the limited part basically has no effect on me. Oh, okay, now lurking. You asked a question which I have 2 answers for. Guys burgers or cheeseburgers in paradise? I love them both. And listen to my entire explanation before you say a response. I do want to hear your opinion too. So after I finish, I want to hear your opinion. But I want you to also hear me out what I have to say. I like the cheeseburger in paradise better on Margaritaville at Sea with the assumption there's no add-ons. So if I compare just like the patty on cheeseburger in paradise is better than Guy's burger. So if I just do a hamburger or a cheeseburger, put lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, whatever toppings you want that they have. Cheeseburgers in Paradise is the winner. Um, However, with Guy's Burgers, they have better toppings. So like on Margaritaville, all the toppings they have is the lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, mustard, mayo, ketchup. I think they may have some jalapenos, but that's pretty much all of their toppings that they have. Um, versus Guy's Burgers, I loved the chili Maximus. So I liked that onion ring they put on there. I liked the chili they put on there. Also tried the Celebration Key Burger. I'm not sure if the cruises. I'm sure they still have Celebration Key Burger, but that was a promotional thing that they were having on the cruise. Um, Celebration Key, and I couldn't remember what's on there, and I had the videos on my phone. My phone's on TikTok, so I can't even look it up real quick. But the specialty burgers on Guy's Burgers, hands down better than Margaritaville because Margaritaville doesn't have that at all. If it's patty to patty, Cheeseburger in Paradise wins. If you had anything else on top of that, Guy's has it hands down all day because they have all the fancy toppings, all the things you could add on to it. They could customize it a lot more. So, I mean, overall, Guy's Burgers is the winner. If you're only considering patty to patty, Cheeseburger has it. What do you think? Do I ever sell out of Long Beach? No, I have not sold out of California as of yet. I want to because there's a few ports out there I want to do, but I have not. Actually had a cruise booked out of Long Beach, but I had to cancel it, unfortunately. Yes, so you're right. Paradise, a cheeseburger in Paradise is fresher. Not only does it taste fresher, it is fresher. That's what I mean. It's better patty to patty. So if you don't already know, I'm a travel agent as well, and I'm able to have conversations with certain people in the industry. And one of them was with the BDM Margaritaville at Sea, and this was a year ago when I had this conversation with him, and then even with the webinars with Margaritaville, they kind of reiterate this. But the burgers on Cheeseburger Paradise are freshly made every single day. So that morning, they get ground beef, or they get beef, they grind it up, they put their seasoning in, and they serve it that day. So it's as fresh could be. For this Carnival, I couldn't tell you exactly what their process. Those patties are probably made before it gets on the ship. It's already pre-made. They cook it there. Somewhat fresh because I believe they don't freeze their patties also. But I know Margaritaville Sea does not freeze their patties because they said specifically they do not do so. But that's why Margaritaville Sea's patties taste so much better. And is why patty to patty comparison, hands down, Cheeseburger in Paradise. Beyond that, I got one for you. What about pizza? Who has better pizza, Carnival or Margaritaville? What about the pizza? Frankie Lola's versus Pirate Pizza versus, I can't remember what else they call their pizza. I have several pizza places on Carnival, technically. The pretty much same recipe. I did notice something, though. What I did find surprising about pizza specifically is that with Carnival Cruise Lines compared to Princess Cruise Lines, which Princess is supposed to be, high end. I found this hilarious when I tried pizza on Princess. Their included pizza, because on Princess they have two pizza venues. They have one that's included. They have one that's a specialty dining. The one in specialty dining is what I expected. Yes, I'm still active. I'm still here. The included pizza on Princess, the specialty pizza on Princess is the best ever It is super fresh ingredients. You have a large variety. It is hands down the best pizza at sea. But what I found funny is the included pizza on Princess is exactly Carnival. It is the same recipe. They cook it the same way. It is identical to Carnival. It's pirate pizza on Princess, which I found was hilarious. Ooh, you've been on the Frenzy. Oh, I haven't been on that class of ship yet. I saw there's so many ships I want to do. So many times, so many places, just not enough money, not enough time. So many ships, so many cruises. I want to go to the inaugural selling of every cruise, but I can't. Pizza on Prince on yes, I agree with Margaritaville. Um, Usually when I go on any cruise line for the pizza, I do the cheese pizza, the quattro on Carnival, pretty fly for white pie on Virgin Voyages, um, whatever places call it. That's what I usually do. Um, but yeah, I agree. Margaritaville does have better pizza. Um, did I see you say you've been to Royal Caribbean too? Now, Royal Caribbean versus Carnival Pizza. What do you think of that? I'm really interested on Taste the Pizza on MSC because I hear people say MSC has the best pizza because it's an Italian cruise line. So I'm super interested in what MSC pizza tastes like. Oh, my laptop's about to die. Plug that in. Let's see if I could plug in my laptop and have it charged without it going into super cool fan mode. If it goes into super cool fan mode, I may just end the live stream so that way I'm not making people deaf with the sound of the fan. It does that when I try to play games, do gaming on it. That fan kicks in to keep it cool. Same thing when I'm editing videos and charging at the same time. The fan will have kick on. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so Virgin Voyages has the best included pizza on any cruise line I've been on. My best pizza overall is Princess Specialty Pizza. So that is, I want to say, is it Alfredo's? I think it's a Giovanni's. Princess Pizza Specialty. Alfredo's, yes. So Alfredo's on Princess has the best pizza that I have ever tried at sea. But that's specialty dining. You got to pay extra to eat there. So that's a different class and category. You can't really count that as the best pizza when comparing to non-paid options. Carnival Oro. I agree with that. And not that Royal Caribbean pizza was bad. It's good. I just the way people hyped it. Maybe it's because the hype versus expectations. Everyone on Royal Caribbean, a big old feud between Carnival Royal Caribbean is Royal Caribbean's better, Carnival's better, blah 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 blah. And people just talked up Royal Caribbean, so I was like, okay, this pizza's gonna be good. And it's like, this is okay, not bad, not great. It's okay. And what's funny is the pizza on the Paradise was better than Royal Caribbean. Pizza on the Islander, I would say it's better than Royal Caribbean. I have a hard time saying Royal Caribbean has the worst pizza. No, Princess included has. That's the same as Carnival. I'm keeping myself in a loop here. I want to say Princess has the worst pizza because it has the same as Carnival. But it was the biggest letdown because you expect high quality on Princess then all of a sudden you get Carnival pizza, which is not bad. I love Carnival pizza. It's just when you hear Princess, you think of ultra luxury. Didn't you serve me what I could get on Carnival? So I found that funny. All right, what else you got for me? I'm probably gonna be here for I don't know, a little bit longer. My voice is starting to feel it. Um, Maybe no more than 30 minutes. I may go before then. I don't know. Let's see how this live stream has been going. Live stream has been going. It's going for an hour and 6 minutes. So this is gonna be a long live stream once it's published. That will be interesting to see what that looks like. I'm experimenting live stream. That's what I'm doing. I have way too much time on my hands, and I'm now making money on YouTube. So now I feel like I have to do stuff on YouTube. I mean, I don't have to, but I also love talking about cruising. And if I had to be on campus for all day and I only teach an hour to 3 hours a day, depending on what day it is, what am I going to do between classes? I have some grading to do. I can do that real quick. But literally, I'm caught up on grading. Okay. This is where I've been agreeing with you all day thus far. But this is where I'm going to disagree with you. I actually like the main dining on Carnival better than Margaritaville. For the specific reason is Carnival, you have more options. So on Carnival, I can order as many dishes as I want without extra charge. Okay, no, that's false. It used to be that way. But now it's like it's an extra charge after the third dish. Margaritaville, I can have unlimited appetizers and desserts, but I get charged for extra entrees. I will say Carnival because I have more options than Carnival. However, Margaritaville does have, I guess, more unique options than Carnival. So there's dishes on Margaritaville that you can't find on Carnival, and it was a good change. And I've been on the Islander twice, and in the past year they made big changes to their menu, which is for the better. So I had the old menu and the new menu on the Islander. And on the Islander, over the past year, they have greatly improved their menu. A lot of their main dishes are now appetizers. They have better, I'll say some of their food, it does taste fresher even in the main dining room. But I found the service in the main dining room of Margaritaville slower than Carnival. And I've been on, I think, about 9, 10 Carnival cruises thus far. And I've been on 3 Margaritaville cruises, 2 of them on the Islander specifically. And both times there were faster service on Carnival. I would say I liked Carnival better because also in the Carnival I was able to get a beef Wellington, but I was on a 7-day cruise, so it's maybe not be an apples comparison. But I was able to get a beef Wellington, and beef Wellington is one of my favorites. I've only had beef Wellington twice in my life. Once at Hell's Kitchen and once on Carnival. And Carnival can't touch Hell's Kitchen when it comes to beef Wellington. But beef Wellington is amazing. It's the best steak ever. Yeah, I agree. The food was fresher on Margarita. That's why my initial thought was Carnival is better on food on the main dining, hands down. But then I started thinking about comparing dishes in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. Margaritaville sea service was slower, but the food did taste fresher. It had more greenery in it. They did have some more of a maybe a local taste. Um, so I do like that, and that's one thing that Margaritaville is trying to work on. Every webinar that I've been on of theirs, um, they want to keep that they're fresh in there. They want to distinguish themselves being fresh. They're not as crowded. They have more local stuff. They want to keep that Margaritaville theming that they have the resorts on their ships. So they're really not trying to imitate the other cruise lines. They are trying to be unique, which I love. Kind of like Virgin Voyages in a different way. They're trying to be unique. Like Virgin Voyages is not trying to compete with Carnival directly. Margaritaville is not trying to compete with Carnival either. Like they're similar but a little different. They're targeting different people, even though it's the same like cruise industry. So which I love. Which is funny because Carnival is trying really hard to target Royal Caribbean customers. You could tell in their advertising and what the offerings like. Royal Caribbean does something, Carnival tries to imitate it, but doesn't imitate it perfectly. Then Royal Caribbean does something else, and Carnival's like, "Ooh, I want to do that too, but I'm not going to do it as well." Like the private islands, I haven't been to either of them, but like looking at the stats and reviews, like Royal Caribbean wins. The private islands, Royal Caribbean looks like they win. Ship sizes and what they're offering, Royal Caribbean keeps taking it. It's like Carnival's trying to imitate them, but they're not doing a very good job. Um, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm at work chatting about my favorite thing. I'm caught up on grades. Finals is next week, so even all my panels are auto graded. So I don't really have to do much on that except for check on grades, make sure there's no student questions. Even if I check my email right now, I do have a few emails, but that's in regards to a meeting that I'm having on Friday. That's spam. That's accepting my meeting invite. This was in regards to a meeting I had. Yeah, see, there's really nothing we respond to. This is a general saying, hey, we approved your master course request. Like literally, I'm at work. There's nothing left for me to do at the moment. So here I'm talking about cruising, because I wish I was on a cruise right now. And I can't wait to next year. I hate saying that because it's so long to my next cruise. I have 2 scheduled cruises next year. Hopefully, if all goes well, I'll have a third. So I have MSC booked for spring break on a Seascape out of Galveston. And then in June, I have the Carnival Breeze out of Galveston. That's a 5-day. That one is going to, I think, Cozumel and Cozumel. My MSC Seascape on spring break is a 7-day going to Honduras, Cozumel, Costa Maya. And I'm hoping to do a Disney cruise with the kids. What's your next cruise? What you got coming up? See, you see, this summer, I know you were jealous of me because I went on 3 cruises this summer. One of them was with you. And now you're going to be on a cruise in 38 days, and I'm jealous of you. And I would totally join you if I could, if I had the money. Oh, that's probably the collision center. As the collision center, the probably thing that I had my part that was defective to fix my car, which is good because my car's getting a lot of wind noise. And I was about to call them today because they're supposed to have the part in Monday. That's another thing in life you gotta deal with. Fortunately, that's an easy one. They just gotta pop on a new plastic piece on my car so it stops making wind noise because the original piece they replaced on it wasn't flush. So when I drove at 40 miles an hour, all I hear is a whistle sound. And that was not going to do. Back on the Frenzy for Halloween. That's going to be awesome. I have never been on it. So I wonder if it's going to be like themed out. You have to let me know if it's themed out. Because I know some cruise lines will do like Halloween themed and some don't. I know like Margaritaville, they're going to have a Halloween theme on some of their cruises. I know Disney resorts, they do that during Halloween, but I'm not sure the cruise lines if they do it. Or if it's just like for a night thing. I'm not sure. I never sold in Halloween, nor do I have known anyone to sell on Halloween, nor do they really advertise that they do, but I know some do because I've seen pictures of it. Man, I'm killing the battery on every single device that I own. My phone's at 30% now. The computer's plugged in. Unfortunately, the fan hasn't kicked on to where it's not super loud. I tried to live stream on Instagram, but then Instagram wasn't letting me live stream for some reason. Or my live streaming incorrectly on there. It's able to live stream just fine the other day on Instagram. Now it's going. I haven't even tried Facebook today. I probably could have done Facebook, but just did not feel like it. I don't know why it won't let me live on there. Anywho. Oh, it is themed for Halloween. Okay. I didn't know. So is it like themed for Halloween, like Halloween Day, or is it like the entire week, or kind of like Christmas, where like on Christmas, from basically the day after Thanksgiving up until like the second week of January, it's like Christmas theme. Is it like that with on ships like in October? I'm curious about that. My favorite cruise line, that's going to be Virgin Voyages. Hands down is my favorite just because it's adults only. No kids allowed. I love my kids. I take my kids on a lot more cruises than I ever anticipated, but of the fact that adults, I mean, it's adults only. So there's no kids, not my kids, no one else's kids. I don't have to worry about dropping in one at the kids club. You don't have kids splashing in the pools. You don't have kids running down the hallway, causing trouble. You don't have kids ever on the ship. So that's a big plus. The pool, no one's flashing you, no one's fighting over it. And I love the fact that Virgin Voyages has all their food included. So I don't have to worry about spending money at what restaurant or having that, okay, I would to do that, like to do that, but I don't want to pay extra for it. Um, so it keeps it very simple. And I love Virgin Voyages restaurants. I love being able to choose different restaurant every single night or do a single restaurant several nights. Because I've done that before to where I gone to Virgin Voyages and went to the test kitchen. And test kitchen, honestly, it's a cool experience. I like to describe to people like it's a chef's table, but without having to pay for it. So you get like what 5-6 course meal, smaller portions, fancier food, a little more adventurous, but you don't pay extra like you would on Carnival or Royal Caribbean. And you basically cook in what is essentially the kitchen, more or less. But when we did that, it wasn't very filling. So then we went to Pink Agave afterwards without a reservation. So I was able to have two of the main dinings in one night. So I really liked that experience with Virgin Voyage. I didn't have to worry about that a single bit. And then they had the best parties at sea. Hands down, Scarlet Night is the best. You cannot beat Scarlet Night no matter what. It's my favorite. I would say that over and over and over again. And I love the fact that there's no tipping included. I mean, no, you don't not expected a tip. Like on Carnival, you get a receipt. If you have the drink package, it's kind of already filled in. If not, you're gonna see a little tip icon there. Virgin Voyages, not even a thing. I love having that all included. Which Virgin Voyages is changing the way they do gratuities coming up soon. I have a video on that as well. But now tips are included in your cruise fare, but you could part it out to not be included if you so wish. So is it included, not included? Anywho, um, but there's so many reasons I love Virgin Voyages, by far. Yes, I agree. The pajama party is amazing. It's my favorite party. I'd say it's probably about my second favorite party. Scarlet Night, the best. I love jumping in the pool. I'm that person jumping in the pool. If you see my TikToks or my YouTube shorts, you find one of Virgin Voyages. A lot of those will have me either diving in the pool, already in the pool. Like that's me. It's they say you can jump in the pool on Scarlet Night. That moment, I'm the first one jumping in. No. Pajama party was a lot of fun too, and I love, and that's the part like my kids would be jealous of because these sound childish things like let's go to a pajama party. It's what we used to do when we were kids. Now we're grown adults doing the same thing. So I told my kids we had a pajama party, and they're like, "Why do you get to have a pajama party? Not me." But it was tons of fun. And one common question I get with that is what to wear, whatever you want. You see people dressing in like regular, long sleeve pajamas. You see people in something that's a little more risque. It's like you wear whatever you want. There's even people wearing like complete outfits, like I don't know, like a whole costume, should I say. So that was fun. And I like the music that Virgin Voyages plays too. It's a good mix. It's not always the same songs like Carnival Road Caribbean, which is another thing that's very in common with those cruise lines. A lot of their music they play similar at their parties. Virgin Voyages is completely different. The worst port? Oh, that's an easy one. Progreso Mexico. That's a no-brainer. You asked that question, and there's not a second thought that I had to get to that. Worst port is by far Progreso. Second worst port, I would say Freeport. Both of them are industrial ports. They do have. There's not much besides that there. Um, at least Freeport has a nice beach not too far away. I say that, but I think it was like a 20-30 minute drive there. Had a good time. For Progresso, I mean, you have a few miles to drive off the pier just to get to the town. And even the town is lackluster. Then there's something to do in town, and then you have to go outside of town to do anything interesting. And even then, depending on where you go to, it's like true Mexico. What a lot of people think of Mexico. It's not the touristy area, nice part of Mexico. You're part of middle of nowhere. Um, it's not the pretty part. So it's a tourist town. It's not a place I would go. Freeport, you don't have that bad. You just have a lot of pushy salespeople at the port, but there's absolutely nothing at all around there unless you go to the other side of the island. Ooh, backtracking. Another thing I like about Virgin Voyages is there a private island. Now, I say private islands, more like a private beach. They have better than Princess. Again, none of the things that you think Princess should be luxury, top of the line of things. They are in a lot of things. They have the best service on Princess. They have the best high quality food, when like included dining, best shows on Princess. They have a lot of best on Princess, just not a party cruise. And their food's actually okay unless it's a specialty. But Princess Key, tomato, their island I thought was going to be amazing. I'm like, oh, it's Princess's Island. Okay, perfect. Carnival happens to go there too. Great, perfect. Loved it. I love the idea of it. I get there, And yes, it's a nice beach, but all the food they serve is like hot dogs, chicken, and burgers, hot dogs, and chicken at a private island by Princess. Doesn't make sense to me. Virgin Voyages has a lot better food on their islands by far. I love the fact that their drink package or the bar tab is included, which it is on Princess too. And if you're on Carnival, you can go to Princess K. You stop at Princess K, but your drink package is not included. Um, but Virgin Voyages, I've only been to two private islands per se, or private beach resorts. There's Princess K and Virgin Voyages, but I thought Princess was going to be better when it comes to their island than what I saw. It was just an average beach. Yes, the food is amazing there. Um, and I've been on two Virgin Voyages cruises on the Valiant Lady and the Scarlet Lady, and both of them, like, nothing changed between the two sailings, even though they're about 2 years apart from each other. But it was great perfection. There was nothing to change about it. It's amazing. Because you add a few extra things, yeah. The only thing I would say that could improve on top of my head about Bimini with Virgin Voyages is expanding it. That's it. It's great. It's perfect as is, in my opinion. All right, I'll probably be here for 10 more minutes. Chill on for about 10 more minutes, and then I'm probably going to start editing some videos because I recorded a video about the Islander this morning, and I have not done any kind of editing for it, which I didn't have time. So I recorded it when I got to work, to finish recording. Then I had to go teach my class for the day. Then afterwards, I had lunch and came back here. And as soon as I got here, I started live streaming. Ooh, the Brilliant Lady. So, Brilliant Lady in Los Angeles. What you should do, which if I ever go to Brilliant Lady, I'm going to do this. But they have a room on there, a balcony room that has two hammocks. I say that, but if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I have to double check on this, but I'm pretty sure the room on a Brilliant Lady that has two hammocks is one of their smaller balcony rooms. Didn't make sense to me. So either it doesn't make sense or I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure the room that has two hammocks is a smaller room. Maybe it's like more room on the balcony. I have to double check the deck plans. You booked it? Oh, I'm jealous. Because I don't know. Another thing why Virgin Voyages is my favorite cruise line is they're the only cruise line that offers a hammock on the balcony. Why has that not been done before? Like, no one has thought about that, or if they did, they were like, so it's a win-win. Smaller and cheaper. Okay, so I'm right. But it's cheaper too? I never priced it out. I did look at it once, but none of the sailings will work with my schedule, so I didn't really try that hard. But it's cheaper and you get two hammocks. I thought it would have been opposite. I'm currently in the process of trying to talk myself into booking that. So I know when me and my wife go out on our balcony, it's just me and my wife, and I'm like, okay, who's going to have the hammock? Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's her. We both can't sit down and enjoy the hammock at the same time, which ideally you want to do. If you're out there with someone, you probably want to have different hammocks, one for each of y'all. They're smaller and cheaper. That is hilarious. That would sell out. You would think that would sell immediately then. Like, that should be the first room on that ship that sells out. What they need to do is retroactively fit all the hammocks, all the rooms, all the sea terrace rooms with two hammocks. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Although I'm not enabling that feature as of now. I actually got a new feature on Livestream, which is cool, so I'm playing around with it. But that will be another day to mess with that. Uh, do, 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 do. I will play some music, but then YouTube would get mad. Oh yes. So are you talking about the solo cabins in general? So if I'm not mistaken, you still pay W occupancy on regular rooms, but I'm sure they know they have solo rooms that you pay solo rates. I know Virgin Voyages and NCL are both good at that. I think regular rooms you still have to pay double still. But again, I never priced it out for solo, and nor do I have many clients that sell solo. As of now, I had several people who asked me about solos on Virgin Voyages. Oh, what is this? Hold on. Let me. Maybe I'll do this on the other computer just so I can screen share. Just tab. Okay. It looks like Virgin Voyages has a true crime themed voyage. That would be interesting. Scarlet Knight's Haunted Soiree, Haunted Halloween. And there's so many cruises I want to do. I bet Halloween will be fun on Virgin Voyages. I'm not a big celebration of Halloween person. That's just not me. But on Virgin Voyages, I can see that being amazing. Like I wouldn't want to do a Halloween themed at Disney. I would not want to do it on Margaritaville, Carnival, etc. But I could totally see myself doing that on Virgin Voyages. I could totally. I'm going to add that to my list of things I want to do. Halloween or Virgin Voyages. And by default, usually Virgin Voyages prices their cruises um, per cabin, anyways. They usually advertise it, and then when I sort through, I price it by per cabin. But I knew that they do have rooms that has Listicle supplement. Also, you may have done it. They did do Virgin Voyages does do no solo fares from time to time. Um, so it's possible that you snag that room when they're having those promotions where you didn't pay solo supplement. So that's a possibility. So I know cruise lines used to do that before 2020, but now they really don't. Not very often, but they're starting to bring back that slowly as I believe the availability in the rooms are starting to increase. Like they're having a lot more cruise lines selling. They have a lot more ships coming online. So yes, demand is going up, but the rate of new cabins are opening up as well. So personally, I foresee cruise prices stalling out or maybe going down. They may still go up in the future, but not as much as they have been lately. I feel like it's eventually in the next 5 years or maybe a few years, it may start slowing down. But also depends on inflation. Man, I want to do Virgin Voyages again. I am planning to do Europe for my 10-year anniversary, but now I feel like I'm going to do Celebrity just to try a new cruise line. And I want a more relaxing cruise line for that. Initially, I wanted to do Virgin Voyages in Europe because it's my favorite cruise line. But then again, if I'm going to Europe, I've never been. I haven't been there since I was like born, so I don't really remember anything about it except for snow. Um, so I want to do a lot of stuff in port. So I'm going to be very port active on that. So I feel like on that one, I'll probably want to do a more relaxing cruise line like Celebrity, so I can relax and chill on the ship, still experience a new cruise line, and go all out in Europe. Because on that trip, I don't foresee myself wanting to party all night. On that cruise line, I mean, I may still party, of course, but I want to save most of my energy for imports. All right, I think I'm about to go ahead and head out now as I pop my back. That felt good. So nice chatting with you, Lurky and the others in the chat. Nice to meet you. I'm sure I'll recognize you because we had a pretty good conversation today. I love that. So you enjoy your cruise that you have coming up, and I will see you again. I'm not sure. I'm going to start live streaming a little more often. I'm not sure how often. I may live stream every day. I may live stream every other day. I haven't decided yet. I'm experimenting. I don't know. I love trying cruises. I may do one platform, maybe two other platforms. That's good to know. I'm definitely going to choose, I think, Celebrity, maybe Prince. But I want to try new cruises, Celebrity. So that's kind of my thought too. European cruises are port heavy, so I wanted to relax while on the ship. So I didn't want to pick Virgin Voyages or Carnival. Virgin Voyages because it's party. Carnival is very active, but also I don't want to go to Europe and be on Carnival. It doesn't seem like something that meshes with me. There's nothing wrong with it. Just I don't imagine going on Carnival in Europe. If I'm going to go, I want to try a new cruise line or my favorite cruise line. I'd rather go on a European specific based cruise in Europe rather than Carnival, or try a new one completely. All right. See you later. I'm heading on out. Nice chatting, and I'll be back eventually. We'll see. You'll take care.